we have people who represent different. You have my message. I'm the convener. Thank you, High Chief. New actions, they tell you not to say this, not to say that. It must stop. It must stop. If they have used journalism to promote their own affairs, they should allow other Nigerians to have the same access to same opportunity. It must stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Peaceful protesters, stop intimidating them, stop harassing them, and use the force you have. Use it for good. Save our land from kidnappers and banditry. Thank you very much for coming to cover this protest. And
is it a crime in Nigeria? I don't think it's a crime, because we are asking for good governance in this country. So a country that will favor the rich, the poor, and the needy is not too much to ask for. Meanwhile, we are asking for good governance. We are being arrested, being killed all across the states. It doesn't make sense. I'm asking this question directly to the federal government. Is we Nigerians asking for a good governance, is it a crime for you to kill us, for you to arrest us? I don't think it's a crime. If it is a crime, then the federal government should let Nigerians know that we asking for good governance is a crime. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
A lot of them are still under detention. Several individuals, several lawyers have decided to give pro bono services to ensure that these people are released. However, we know that this still falls within the power of the federal government. A simple order, Mr. President is the Commander-in-Chief of all armed forces in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We have the list of our people that have been arrested, but these are not all. In fact, there are people that we don't even know. Those who were picked up just by passing on the road, even journalists like yourselves that have been picked up, and several individuals across the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This list come up every day because these arrests are made every day. And that is why one of our demands is not to only release the people who were arrested during the NSAS protest, but also those who are still arrested during this protest and still being arrested even as the protest continues or as we speak. So what we are calling on them is that we must not provide any list. While the list is compiled, every day lists are released. He mentioned some names. Let them stop arresting peaceful protesters. And I'd like to state this categorically. We realize that it is simply an RNG meeting with several security forces to keep on arresting people in the name of that they are bandits. Please, people who are protesting are not bandits. This protest was announced even over a month before it began. All we needed for the police to do, we have mapped out strategic locations where these protests are happening. If people are looting in other shops, go ahead and arrest them. Why are you arresting people who are on the street at strategic locations without any weapons, asking for good governance? So I am saying that the list will be published. A lot of people are still being arrested as we speak, and they should stop that arrest with immediate effect and release all those who are in detention. They know these people, and they know in the places that they've been arrested.
You want to speak? Let me say something. Where is the electoral reforms that is needed to usher in a proper democratic government in Nigeria? Where is that? Is there any committee? Is there anything going on in the National Assembly that point to that? So there are issues. The issues are on this. My brother at the extreme end, Max has said, there's a demand. The government is seeing it as confrontation. That's the problem. They are not behaving as if they're in a democracy. There's a demand. And this demand is clearly stated here. He talked about the electoral reform. He talked about securing our farmland. What is the security architecture the government has even put in the public to tell us that going forward, that our farmlands will be secured? These are the demands. I'm asking, what has he said? Rhetoric and trying to make promises on paper is something anybody can do. Everybody can do it. You can read anything. But ask the president, has this thing been done? Are Nigerians feeling what is going on? He talked about sending 500 and something billion to state. The state have said it's COVID-19 relief money. And there must be a system. We talked about cost of governance, reducing cost of governance. There's no government since 1999 that have expanded governance like the President Tinubu administration. None. 48 or so ministers. He created a new Ministry of Livestock. Expanding parastatals and MDAs. and putting more pressure on the already pressured economy. So these are the issues we're asking. As I'm talking to you, our money is not, the safers of the Togo is higher. So you can't even go there and say you want to buy goods and sell because you will not gain. So we have to sit down and rejig our economic system, our security system, and our electoral reform system. The young people must participate. There's a young one that's very brilliant. A lot of them are here. You put them in, let them participate in reforming the process that will determine their future. Let them have a say in what will become something that either make them progress or make them retrogress. So these are simple questions. There's no war here. There's no fight. The simple question Nigerian protesters from Bauchi to Kano, from Kano to Yobe, from Kaduna to Abuja, to Lagos to Ibadan, and Port Harcourt are asking is that do right by our people. Do the right things that will put food on the table. Do the right things that will make sure that hunger day, people know where they shout them again.
So let him answer the question on the protest.
But it is one thing that we are asking for, which
The program he has put in place. He talked about cultivating 500 hectares of land. Where have they started the cultivation? No.
Enough time that we should just give the government little time to for some of those programs they say they put in place to group. How many of your members have been arrested and how many have been released? And also the president's broadcast, he made mention of
1,300. And why is it 1,300? You go to buy tomatoes and they're telling you that just a tiny plate of tomatoes is 4,000 naira. And you're asking, why is it 4,000 naira? People protest every day. So in as much as the government is trying all their possible best to be very brutal with peaceful protesters, when they can carry that brutality to end insecurity, when they can use that same brutality to go and end banditry and end kidnapping, or bringing it to peaceful protesters, no matter what they try to do, no matter how they try to ensure that people's morals and people's belief and courage is actually trampled on. It will not, because people will still protest every day. People will protest the price of fuel. People will protest the price of our normal standard of living. People will protest the price of food items. Everything is inflated, and all the citizens of the country are asking for is sort it out, fix it. And rather than fix it, you start to throw tear gas, shooting live bullets at peaceful protesters. Where is that done anywhere in the world?
Insane.
Where is that done? Because there is nowhere in the world that even if you want to even put people in a courtroom, they'll tell you that your sin or your crime is actually punishable by death. There's no crime in peaceful protest, and there's nowhere in the world that they'll tell you that if having a peaceful protest, you have to be punished by death. This was the Nigerian flag that was used in peaceful protest, and it was hit thousands of times with tear gas. And these people don't even respect the flag. They don't respect the Nigerian citizens, and the Nigerian citizens are coming out to ask now. These are our demands. All we want you to do is end hunger. Like everything is actually going down in the country, all because of a very, very wrong statement that was made. How is it so difficult for you to fix it? And rather than fixing it, you want to start picking up peaceful protesters, or you want to start ensuring that people feel inconsequential in the country of their own. That is very wrong. The peaceful protesters are not going to stop protesting. Every day of our lives we protest. We will continue to protest the prices of food items. We'll continue to protest the standard of living in Nigeria until it is fixed. Our demands are clear. Fix it.
okay, please Alan.
these are the probing questions that we have failed to address. It's not whether people are still coming out for the protest or not. I'm sure that you are newsmen, and I believe that the general public also follow the news, and you can see what is happening over other states. Not only Abuja, the protest is not only happening in Abuja or Lagos State, it is nationwide. And we have listed things that Nigerian people will need. It is not a personal need for myself, nor for the people that you see in this press conference. It is for the collective good of citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it is actually an embarrassment to this democracy which we claim to practice, that these same protesters are being oppressed in this manner. How can children be dying in a peaceful protest? Children are dying. These are the same events that happened during the NSAS protest in 2020, and it is a repeated reoccurrence. If we are indeed giants of Africa, we should be able to lay those roadmaps. We should be able to lay good examples, both in democracy, in judicial reforms, in electoral reforms, in the economy, in commerce. What is the ease of doing business currently in Nigeria? Businesses are folding. Companies are leaving Nigeria. So the issue is not about how many people remain on the streets. The issue is that has the problems been solved? And it is unfortunate that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who addressed the nation, could not address any of the things that these people have been on the streets protesting for. Not one was addressed. Not one. The hunger persists, the inflation persists, the economic difficulty persists, and a lot more. In fact, individual businesses, which is the private sector, which is supposed to be running our economy, has been crippled. How much do you buy diesel or fuel in order to, solve the problems of your businesses around? So I think that we should be asking the government the right questions and not the citizens. If they cannot answer to our demands, then I'm afraid that this protest will continue. Protest is simply airing your grievances, and like he has rightly mentioned, it is enshrined in all records, all laws, both international laws and treaties that Nigeria is a signatory to.
And just to talk on that, people.
The level of armory, the level of personnel that have been deployed to quell peaceful protests. That is to show that we can even end banditry. That is to show that we can even secure ungoverned spaces. That is to show that we can secure our federal highways over how many thousand kilometers. So what we are saying, you have the intimidation, the harassment is the reason why in this press conference is even happening in the first place. That people have been harassed. You ask something, you go to another, people have been picked up. We spoke here that Aminu has been in detention. So these are factors that are militating that, look, you can suppress an idea. You can suppress people's right. You can suppress people's opinion. But it lives in their heart. And that suppression is the reason why democracy is not germinating well. And the people must stand. And the people must collectively demand good governance. And for that reason, we are committed to the peaceful protest. We are committed. What we are doing here is peaceful protest. What we are doing here is peaceful protest. The young men that you see here have come out to speak. You understand? Please, we are not giving in like we have said. What we have said is that we are re-emphasizing some of the requests that we have made for the protest starting from August 1. That these requests are alive. Electoral reforms are important. Without proper electoral environment, without proper elections being conducted that will represent true wishes and aspirations of our people, without a reform that will protect that one man, one vote, without a reform that will say that from the ECA must be scanned directly through the beavers to the IREC, without such reforms and without proper electoral environment, we will elect leaders that will not be beholden to the people, that will not respond to the people. Leaders will elect themselves. So these are demand every citizens, every government will adhere to. And say, let's have our people elect our leaders. What is too much to ask? Hunger day, oh. Hunger day.
Please let's Mr. Maxwell just key into that too.
Okay.
The mantra of that poem, the feast for the comrade, that there's no tribeless, religionless, and regionless. So what we are gathered here to do is to speak with one voice. Some of us come from different generations within this country, where our experiences are different. Some of us have seen worse governance system. Some of us have not seen democracy in the real form. What we are saying is that where there's a gap between the function of what the political party should do as enshrined in from the section 223 to 229, then the citizens take the mandate and then do what is needful to put government in check. Because what President Tinubu and APC did and his other counterpart did was to put every government that have come on the front burner and pressure pot to be able to ask that they do good for the people. So why is ours different? Ours is not different. We will do what the opposition leaders are not doing. Our young people have spoken, and what they want is good leadership, competent leaders, driving competent policies, and driving policies that will create change for our people. Positive change.
Okay, I would like to ask, today is the 9th day, and we've, in the past few days, we noticed that most of the protesters have not been coming out. So I want to know why you had to halt your protest and why we can't.
Leader of opposition as a leader of political party leader. So what message do you have to Nigerians in that regard? Sorry, I came a little bit. The Nigerians are worried about
protesters. He has been protesting since the 90s. And for him to now come and not use protest as a means to govern the people, because protest itself, without it, democracy will not be sustainable. So what we're saying is that if you make promises as government, for the civil service, There's no better no group of people that have given more sacrifice to our country than the civil servants. And their welfare is very important. It's capturing part of the things we're saying. That you should have mortgage system so that they will be able to pay for 30 years while they get to service and get a house. That you should have a system that put food on their table, not a system that impoverish them. Because you made a promise to even sell rice at 50,000 naira to civil servants. That promise has been withdrawn. And we are saying for civil servants, this country is yours. Fundamental right as enshrined in combined reading of section 39, 40, and 41 gives them the right to also participate in peaceful protest. It's not a crime. Protest is a way of entrenching and enriching the components of what they call democracy. So what we are saying is that President Tinubu has been playing policy somersault with all his public statements. The irrational way he removed the petroleum fuel subsidy, the fuel subsidy, which has led our people to this poverty. The way he mentioned that he was going to do 500 hectares of farmland and cultivate it. Till now, there's no one hectare has not been cultivated. So we have a problem, and we're demanding. There's no fear. You talk about fear. What is the essence of this life that we're living if we don't live for humanity? What is the essence of this life that we're living if we don't sacrifice ourselves to make sure that generation yet unborn have a better place to live in? Our parents were afraid. Our forefathers were afraid. We suffer that consequences. It is time for young Nigerians to believe in demand, to demand good for their government. It is our responsibility. And nothing is serve a la carte. So we are asking that President Tinubu look at this reasonable demand and then execute them in line to the benefit of his own legacy, to the benefit and the growth and development of our own people, socio-economically and politically.
Protest and government is not even moving in the direction of Nigerians don't think it's better.
What we don't want.
In fact, I even retrieving some of the promises they made, like they told civil servants that they're going to buy rice at 40,000. Now they've cancelled that initiative. That's number one. Then the number two is that today is the 9th day of the protest. Tomorrow is going to be the 10th day for the first lap. The DSS is secretly picking people who they term as my name is Mike.
We gather here today with heavy heart to address the nation in response to the recent broadcast by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu regarding the ongoing bad governance in Nigerian peaceful protests. These protests are happening across the length and breadth of our beloved country because we are witnessing a period of unprecedented hardship and turmoil. Since President Tinubu inauguration on May 29, 2023, when he announced the removal of the fuel subsidy without any structured plan to mitigate the negative impact on the people, the lives of ordinary Nigerians have been turned upside down. It is we, the common citizens, who are bearing the brunt of this decision as we struggle under unpalatable socio-economic conditions. Our nation is in crisis. Our nation is truly in crisis, sincerely speaking. And we must come together to work as brothers to continue to demand good governance for our leaders. The Nigerian people have been plunged into deeper poverty and hardship. Subsistence farming has vanished, leaving many families in distress. Parents struggle to put food on the table. It's a sad episode in our country. And some are forced to make stew with cucumbers because basic vegetables like tomatoes, peppers, and onions are too expensive. Farmers live in fear of bandits and kidnappers, preventing them from cultivating their lands, which contribute to the food scarcity we face. The economic turmoil has led to unpaid school fees, and as of 2024, UNICEF has declared Nigeria as having the world's highest number of out-of-school children. This is an urgent situation that demands immediate attention. This is not too much to ask, that our children should be given the opportunity to go to school, that an enabling environment should be created by federal government to accommodate those who are out of school. The number of out-of-school children is unprecedented in the history of this country. Crime rates are soaring as people become increasingly desperate. Communities are attacked. Villages are ransacked. Innocent lives are lost. Ancestral lands are seized. This is not the Nigeria we aspire to build. Our people are not greedy. Nigerians are never greedy. Nigerians are one of the people that can be easily appeased when government do right and stand right by them. We ask only for a decent standard of living, which can be provided by any competent leader. What we are talking about is about competence. It's about the fact that you cannot take irrational policy decisions. It's about the fact that you cannot wake up without proper planning, without proper study. You say subsidy is gone. That has brought untold hardship on our people, increasing the transportation cost alone by 300%, from 190 naira per liter of fuel to 800 naira, now 1,000 plus. How do you say Nigerian people should not ask their government to do better? We're asking our people to do better. It is particularly disappointing to see this government, led by President Tinubu, who once stood as an opposition leader and supported protests, now using state forces to suppress the rights of citizens. Section 39, Section 40 of the Nigerian Constitution, along with Article 19 and 20 of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, guarantee our rights to freedom of expression, and peaceful assembly. Yet, when Nigerians exercise this right under this government, led by President Tinubu, they are faced with brutality and even death. The penalty for protest is not death penalty. The punishment for protest should be at least water cannon, rubber bullet. People are protesting in UK as we speak. How many record of death have they recorded? Because the police must be civil. Civil society and the security agency must adhere to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And the protesters in Abuja and other elsewhere have respected their right to peaceful protest. We have witnessed tragic events such as the killing of Abbas Kabiru by the Nigerian police in Kaduna and the death of 16-year-old Ismail Muhammad at the hands of the Nigerian army. These are only a few examples of the violence that peaceful protesters have endured, with Amnesty International stating over 22 peaceful protesters brutally killed by the security agencies. If not because of the pressure that came from Kaduna, that the Nigerian army accepted and said in public realm and even offer apology, and then paid 300,000 naira to the family of the deceased, a 16-year-old boy. What will 300,000 do to the family? Look at the emotional trauma that comes from that. If they have applied the alternative of trying to negotiate, speak to Nigerians who are the custodian in the first place of what people governance are, it should be. We won't be in this state of struggling to give our people a fair hearing. The 1999 Constitution, as amended, clearly protected our inalienable right, including the right to protest. According to the Constitution, no one should be held without being charged to court for more than 48 hours. Yet, individuals like Alhaji Khalid Aminu remains in detention without charges, languishing in the SSS custody in Kaduna. This is unacceptable, and the government must do everything possible to release all peaceful protesters or charge them to court. Nigeria may be a lawless place, but our fundamental human rights will not be taken away from us. We demand that all those detained in connection to the ongoing protests be released with immediate effect, or else President Tinubu should be ready to arrest and kill us all. The demand of Nigerians who have gathered peacefully since August 1st, 2024 must be heard. We seek relief from the economic hardship inflicted upon us by the irrational policy of President Tinubu-led government. The use of live ammunition against peaceful protesters is intolerable and must end immediately. We also declare that the harassment and intimidation of journalists who are bona fide members of the Fourth Estate of the realm for covering the protest is a breach of the Constitution and other relevant international laws, and this should also be stopped immediately. We saw journalists being harassed. We saw journalists from AIT who were shot at the airport, who had serious injury on their leg, broke their leg. We saw a new central journalist. I'm a trained journalist myself. I know the right of journalists in the country to be able to keep Nigeria in the right direction and continue to inform the citizens about policies and decisions of government, and also inform the government. They are the gap between the two sides. And if you now start to now make sure that there's no free press, as soon as there's no free press, then there's no democracy. As soon as there's no freedom, and then there's no democracy. As long as the people cannot voice their voice without fear, then our democracy continues to languish in the hands of those who are intimidating us. Our protests are not staged for criminals. To those who see our peaceful protests as a means to put their criminal activities to practice, you are not part of our cause. Our cause is good governance. Our cause, we demand that government must be responsible. Our cause, we demand that government must cut the excessive spending on themselves and ignoring the Nigerian masses. Our cause is that public schools must work for public good. Our cause is that public resources must be used for the development of this country. Our cause is that our refinery must work so that we stop importing and spending money, dollars that we don't have. Our cause is that human rights must be respected. We call on President Tinubu to immediately halt the use of brute force by security agencies against peaceful protesters. There's no place for the use of live ammunition on peaceful protesters. Nigerians have the right to protest, and our demands are essential for the nation's progress and stability. We urge the federal government to take immediate action to address these issues. We are aware of the government tactics of bribing key stakeholders to quench protests, but this time it will not succeed. Our demands are not met. We will continue to peacefully express our sufferings and frustration until they are addressed for the benefit of the common man on the street. Nigeria will not give up. We will not give in. We will not cave in until that demands are met. And that demand is that the welfare of our people become paramount in the eyes of those who are government. The people are not made the people are not beholden to government. Government is made to provide for the people. So when government fails in that direction, yes, it is the responsibility of citizens to speak up. Let us stand united in our pursuit of a better Nigeria. A Nigeria where the government serves the people and ensures that every citizen even can live with dignity and hope. We thank you for coming here. We thank our pressmen who have risked their life in the time of this protest. We thank young people who have kept up the work of advocacy, who have kept up the work of civil engagement, who have kept up the work of promoting harmonious relationship between communities and tribes, between region and religion. So we thank you all for coming, and I will allow some of our comrades who are here to talk about the experience they had during the protest and see the ongoing protest which is still on. We thank you. Our focus is to make Nigeria work for our people. Ladies and gentlemen, present here at this World Press Conference, before we begin, may I implore you to join me in observing a 1-minute silence for those killed during the peaceful protest. 1 minute silence. This time, no, I prefer this side. So the journalists, those who use phone, they get back. May I put the phone for silence?
If I go on flight mode, then I sit down. Can I sit down?
Sir? Now, I can't give that to somebody, make them hold on. Not the you.